Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today we're turning the spotlight on an extraordinary moment in both animal conservation and international relations, an event that took place on December 4th, 2011. On this day, two giant pandas, Guang and Tian Tian, arrived in Edinburgh, marking the beginning of a special chapter for Edinburgh Zoo, Scotland, and the UK. These two pandas made history as the first giant pandas to live in the UK for 17 years, arriving from China as part of a 10-year loan agreement, which was later extended for an additional 2 years. The arrival of Yang Guang, Sunshine, and Tian Tian, Sweetie, was much more than just a significant event for animal lovers. Their presence symbolised a growing friendship between Scotland and China. It was also part of a larger international effort to promote panda conservation and facilitate breeding programs that could help save this endangered species from extinction. Let's step back a little and look at how this historic day came to pass. It was a highly anticipated moment, and the pandas arrived in Edinburgh under a great deal of media attention. The flight from Chengdu, China was specially chartered, and they were transported in custom built crates that would ensure their comfort during the long journey. These crates were designed with their safety in mind, fitted with ventilation, sliding padlocks, and removable screens for easy observation. The pandas had a diet of bamboo, apples, carrots, and even a special panda cake to enjoy during their journey. When the pandas touched down at Edinburgh Airport on December 4th, 2011, they were met with a small entourage, including the Scottish Secretary, Nicola Sturgeon, and the Chinese Charge d'Affaires, along with a cheering crowd. It was a moment of celebration for many. Yet the arrival of the pandas was not without its controversy. Animal welfare groups, such as One Kind, voiced concerns about the ethics of keeping such rare and endangered animals in captivity. They questioned whether this was an effective form of conservation or if it was merely a commercial arrangement. Despite this, Edinburgh Zoo was hopeful that the pandas' presence would educate the public and raise awareness about the importance of conserving giant pandas in the wild. Yang Guang and Tian Tian settled into their new £250,000 home at the zoo, which featured two separate enclosures designed to meet their specific needs. The zoo team hoped that the pandas would breed, a goal that was of particular interest to conservationists. Tian Tian had given birth to twin cubs before, and Yang Guang had fathered cubs, though not with Tian Tian. Their breeding efforts would be closely monitored. Although no cubs were produced during their stay, their presence at the zoo contributed valuable insights into panda care, fertility, and veterinary practices, which had a direct impact on panda conservation efforts in China. Yang Guang and Tian Tian's story is a testament to the increasing importance of international cooperation in animal conservation. But as the pandas became beloved by the public and a major tourist attraction for the zoo, it was always known that their time in Edinburgh would eventually come to an end. The 12-year loan had always been temporary. Preparations for their return to China were years in the making. In late 2023, after their long stay, Yang Guang and Tian Tian left Edinburgh to head back to their homeland, where they would continue their conservation journey at a sanctuary in Chengdu, Sichuan province. The logistics of sending two giant pandas back to China were complex and meticulous. The pandas were placed in specially designed travel crates, the same ones used for their arrival in 2011. They had to undergo quarantine in both the UK and China to ensure that they would not carry any diseases. Alongside them were a team of keepers, a vet from Edinburgh Zoo, and even a Chinese keeper to help manage the animals during their flight. As the pandas were prepared for their departure, They were once again surrounded by their dedicated caregivers who had formed emotional bonds with them during their years at the zoo. The flight itself was a unique experience on a specially chartered China Southern Airlines plane that had most of its seats removed to make room for the pandas' crates. Only 4 people, including the keepers and a vet, were allowed to be on board. The pandas were accompanied by fresh bamboo and monitored for their health throughout the flight. Their crates were carefully secured, and the journey to China was expected to take around 12 to 13 hours, with a handover at a halfway point between the two countries. For the staff at Edinburgh Zoo, it was a bittersweet farewell. Many of the keepers had been with the pandas since their arrival and had cared for them over the years. Senior animal keeper Michael Livingstone described looking after the pandas as the highlight of his career. Despite knowing that the pandas' departure was inevitable, it was still an emotional day for everyone involved. The pandas had become a symbol of not just conservation efforts, but of the friendships forged between countries through the shared love and care of these magnificent creatures. Since their arrival in 2011, Guang and Tian Tian had become beloved residents of Edinburgh Zoo. Their stay was filled with moments of joy for the public and the keepers. Visitors would come from far and wide to catch a glimpse of the pandas, and many of them were inspired by the work being done to conserve pandas in the wild. Over the years, millions of people learned about the challenges of panda conservation thanks to the ongoing research conducted at the zoo. While the pandas may not have bred while in Edinburgh, their presence undoubtedly sparked global interest in protecting giant pandas and their habitats. As Guang and Tian Tian make their way back to China, their legacy lives on. They have left an indelible mark on the hearts of many in Scotland and beyond. The ongoing work in panda conservation continues to evolve, with new strategies and partnerships emerging every year to protect these vulnerable animals. It is hoped that the lessons learned in Edinburgh will contribute to the greater goal of ensuring a bright future for giant pandas, both in captivity and in the wild. Thank you for joining me on this special episode of This Day in Scottish History. Tune in tomorrow as we delve deeper into another fascinating moment from Scotland's rich past. I'm Colin MacDonald, and as always, haste ye back.